Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to Command Power, the show in which we discuss all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on Commander. And today we have a brand new episode in our card spotlight series in which I look at a card that I feel is underplayed or underappreciated in Commander and discuss its merits. But before we do that, just a quick reminder to please click subscribe if you enjoy these videos. It's the only way the YouTube algorithm really notices me, and we're currently growing the channel and it helps me a lot. Much appreciated. And the card we're going to be talking about today is Shakedown Heavy from Streets of New Capenna. And if you don't know what Shakedown Heavy does, for 2 colorless and 1 black, it's a 6/4 creature, demon ogre with menace, and whenever Shakedown Heavy attacks, defending player may have you draw a card. If they do, untap Shakedown Heavy and remove it from combat. So this is a new take on a classic style of card which gives your opponents choices. Traditionally, those cards have not been very good. Browbeat is the classic example that people use all the time because giving your opponent the choice between you drawing 3 cards and then taking 5 damage is always going to result in you getting the worst of both of those options. As for creatures that give your opponents choices, they have mostly figured in black, and there have been some decent ones throughout the years, such as Desecration Demon, which is a really powerful one during Return to Ravnica and Theros Standard, and it was quite an important piece in one of the strongest decks, which was Mono Black Devotion. That card does not translate very well to Commander, however, since any opponent can sacrifice a token and all you get is a +1/+1 counter on your Desecration Demon and it gets tapped. But compared to that, we see that Shakedown Heavy is much more powerful than this because of a few crucial reasons. The reason it's better than most of the cards with the downside is that it doesn't give your opponent as many choices as it may initially seem. First off, on turn 3, a 6/4 with Menace is absolutely miles ahead of curve and is very difficult to block favorably since they're going to need 2 creatures to do so. Even so, if they do have 2 creatures lying around that can block this, you're almost certainly going to kill both of them, and they might not even kill the Shakedown Heavy, so you're guaranteed to get at least a 2-for-1. Nobody really wants to take 6 damage early on in a Commander game, especially when you can get this down on turn 2 if you're playing it in a green deck by pairing it with something like Llanowar Elves. This is very scary and people just do not want to take that damage. So most of the time they're going to give you the card. Now usually that would already be a pretty good upside with any of these creatures, but it gets even better than that because not only do they give you a card, but you get to untap your Shakedown Heavy and use it on defense, meaning that you're not open to being attacked by one of your opponents. The downside to these creatures a lot of the time is that your opponents can tap them at their will and then just swing in with whatever they have. With this, they don't get that choice. The only choice they get is whether to take 6 damage, block this with 2 creatures, or give you a card. So most of the time, what's going to end up happening when you play this early is that it's going to draw you 3 cards, 4 cards throughout the course of the game, and then eventually it's going to trade for 2 of their creatures or a board wipe, which is absolutely fine. That's an incredible rate for a 3-drop, and that's without taking into account the fact that it's going to keep most early aggression at bay due to its 6/4 body on defense. This is a card that plays much better than it seems, and if you haven't played with it yet, you should definitely try it out. It's also very generically good, so it just fits into almost any black deck really. It doesn't require any significant build around. There are a few little downsides to it, so if you play it late game, when you really want to close out the game, your opponents are just going to let you draw cards. But the fact that you get the card during your attack step and can still play it in the second main phase means that that downside isn't even as bad as it initially seems. This is the first time that I think WotC has really hit the perfect balance between downside and effect for one of these Punisher cards, and for me it's just been fantastically fun to play in Commander. Drawing extra cards with this feels great. So if you haven't given this card a chance, definitely consider doing so, and I think you will not be disappointed. So there you have it, that has been our card spotlight for today. What are your thoughts on this card? Let me know in the comments section below. I read all comments and respond to all of them too, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel. And until next time, take care. Woo!